Hello and welcome to this edition of the Time with Hime podcast. I'm your host, Lynn Cordes, joined by our superintendent, Mr. Hime. How are you doing, sir?
Very excited. Banquet season, graduation's right around the corner. Hopefully the rain holds off. We do have
Crossing our fingers.
We'll put a plan B together and get it out to the parents as we get closer in the weather. Again, we're going to Oklahoma weather. You can never predict Oklahoma weather more than 48 hours out with success.
So we're crossing our fingers, and we will let you know if anything changes. But right now, we're right on track, and graduation, promotions, all of that are kicking off. And we just had senior farewell assemblies in person. You know, mask required. Yes, we are going to finish our year out, but it's great.
Yes.
We're there.
Very excited that we're going to get closer back to the norm. Only one class didn't get a graduation, so they will go down in history as the only class that graduated virtually. So that'll be exciting. At least they got something out of it besides what they lost.
And, the mask is for this year, so they can own that. And then hopefully next year we're back to pre-pandemic.
Yes. So I hope we still stay home when we're sick, wash our hands, and still keep a little bit of social distance, because one thing the pandemic did with the mask and such is the flu wasn't a problem this year. Strep throat wasn't a problem and such. So.
All right. Well, we have a special guest. We had a great guest last week with Vanessa sharing the makerspace. And now this week, would you like to introduce our new guest?
Yes, we have the same thing. We've been talking since about right after Christmas about the Life Ready Center. Leadership's one of those funny things. You kind of get an idea, you think of how it would work, and then you go find somebody else that has that idea and somebody you can go discuss it with, and then you say, okay, what about you taking this?
How are you going to make it happen?
I mean, if you can get them to take it over, then all of a sudden you get a lot of credit for all the great things they're doing. And so the Life Ready Center was a plan we came up early, and then whenever I was actually on a podcast, and I heard Charlotte Oates say something about a STEM center, and I thought, boom, I'm going to see her. And I mean, 5 minutes later, I was in her office, and we met a few times. We met with the principals, and then I just went to her and say, hey, you got to take this over. I don't have time. Hey, she's agreed to do it. She's doing a wonderful job, so she's here to tell us what is a Life Ready Center.
Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. The Life Ready Center is going to be where Tomlinson Middle School currently is, and we will be able to take over that building probably in June. And the Life Ready Center is really a center that serves several purposes. It's a STEM center because we have all of our engineering classes over there that will also include robotics and drones and all of those kind of wonderful things that go with STEM. And it's a STEAM center because we also have an advanced art teacher over there with wonderful art offerings that you won't find in any of the high school buildings. It's also a community center because we're going to do a lot of community-based things in that building that the community will be involved in and will be hopefully enjoy, like competitions with those robotics and competitions with the drones. And we're going to have an art gallery in that center. One of my most talented art teachers, Scott Smith, is going to be the curator of our art gallery over there. So that's something that we're going to create when we get there. And it's also going to be an equal opportunity and a university center. So we have all of our concurrent classes there. We have several AP classes to offer you for over there. And those are exciting because the kids will get to do their concurrent classes more similar to the way they would do it on campus. So those concurrent classes would be in chunks of time, a Monday and a Wednesday class, and then a Tuesday and a Thursday class. And they would have Friday off where they can come to the center and go into our wonderful library with Maureen Durant, use all of the resources that she's going to do in that library, which would include things like learning commons and charging stations and study carols, and she would love to do some poetry readings and all of the kind of things that kids don't have the time right now or the facilities to do with.
And we provide those concurrent classes for free.
For free.
Yes, our students, it's no tuition. The state picks up the tuition. We pick up the fees. The books will be part of our library. So basically,
Absolutely.
They'll check the book out of their library. So that's awesome. Continue. I'm sorry.
Awesome. No, thank you for mentioning that. And also, there's some other things that I'm excited about with this LRC because it offers an equal opportunity for every student that's at our high schools. Since we have 3 high schools, but not every high school has the same resource or the same teachers that are qualified to teach certain classes. So, for instance, 2 of our high schools do not have a family and consumer science teacher or facility or the class. So to put an LRC, to put a fax teacher at LRC, we now have the availability for every student in the district at the high school level to take a family and consumer science class.
And it fits right in with our goal to create more opportunities and tear down the roadblocks. So we want to create as many opportunities for our students as we can, and this fits right into it.
But that doesn't also mean that it's going away from the school that was there, because they'll still get to have it on site as well, correct?
Absolutely.
We want Eagles to be Eagles, Wolverines to be Wolverines,
Absolutely.
and Highlanders to be Highlanders. But this is no different. It gives them
A common place, a center.
office where we can offer it. One great example is we've talked about our science lab.
Yes, students from any school can actually, get time to come over there and do what they want to, but also we can put some science classes over there that, part of the problem with this, part of the reason for doing this was that we may have students in a school that want, like, for instance, an AP physics class, but there may only be 5 in a building. Well, you can't do a class for just 5. Or there may be a class that the kids want, but there's not a teacher in that building certified to do that. So this is the reason why the equal opportunity is really important to me, that we all look at that the same, as an equal opportunity. The other thing about that is we don't start business over there until after they start in their building. So they'll all go to their buildings, then we will shuttle them to LRC, and we'll shuttle them back to their building after they're done with that class, and in every instance, also in time for them to pick up their bus to go home. So we're only borrowing them. They still belong to their high schools,
I like
but
that
we're
term.
borrowing
We're
them.
borrowing them. Very
We're
good.
borrowing them. And it gives these kids, most of them are, pretty buried into their individual high schools. Well, what better place to build some community than to put all of those kids that are Eagles and that are Highlanders and that are Wolverines, put them all together in a classroom. That becomes another kind of friendship and another kind of focus that they don't have right now. They don't have the ability to do classes together.
And the ultimate goal, we got the FISTA coming in, we've got new economic development, and when these new businesses come in, part of our responsibility is to create students who are graduate, who are life ready, who are either ready for their next step in higher education, thus the partnership with Cameron in Great Plains, or they're ready to go to work. Well, if they're ready to go work, we want them to go to high-skilled jobs that they can make a good living at these new businesses that come in. And there's going to be the need for more engineering jobs and more high-tech jobs in the future in the Lawton area, because we got a lot of faith in what our economic development and the FISTA is doing and bringing in businesses. So we want to partner with those people to create those opportunities.
We've spent months partnering with Great Plains and with Cameron, trying to build a matrix for this place that will satisfy everybody's needs. And of course, it'll start small. But although I already have 911 students enrolled.
Yeah, we say start small. When we started this, and I went and talked to Charlotte, I said, I know this first year we'll have a few classes, maybe 200 students. Those who know Charlotte knows, first of all, they know she didn't really borrow anything. but they also know that, hey, she started small, but starting small to her was, again, she's done a great job. 900 students. What do we got, 40-some classes right now?
We have 21, maybe 22. I'm still looking for someone who can do sign language for us. I'm still looking for someone who could maybe offer Comanche language, offering Korean over there. We do have French, because we don't have French in any of our high schools, so we do have a French teacher. And there's also, I'm really excited about the future for LRC, because as well as trying to get all these other things that I just talked about, I want to build a community garden over there. And that community garden is a place where students can learn to grow and market and harvest and do, for the community, and maybe work that into our community farmers market. What a great way to help our community out.
And it will continue to grow. I mean, this will be our first year with the LRC, and where we're going to take it is state of the art, and something that I know many people are watching across the state.
Yeah, and we're open, and that's what I like about what Charlotte's saying is we're open to ideas, different things we can offer. How do we make them work? And they've done a great job with that. And the other thing I will say is that I have a lot of respect for Charlotte, because again, I'm a new superintendent and she's been here a couple years. So
Just a couple.
It's just a couple. So that's a tough, whenever I bring an idea to her and we sit down and she gives me what she thinks and we put it together, that's a tough conversation. But one of the challenges I had was I don't want the LRC to be just for the 10% or the 50. I want it to be where all kids
students
could have an opportunity there. And she is just taking a hold of that. She is going to work hard in the next couple of years to making sure there's something offered there for all kids that they could have an opportunity to take advantage of.
Well,
that program.
we've got kids enrolled in this center that start in the 9th grade all the way to 12th. And we have kids besides our community, besides our university and our AP students. These electives are filled with everyone from 9th through 12th. And so we are talking the whole demographic and the whole grade levels. And another thing I'm very excited about that Lynn is so good at, and the IT people over here, we'll turn one of those rooms into a TV media production, which will help to teach each one of our high schools has a live stream media set of kids who are learning how to live stream at their broadcasting
yes.
at their own games and their own events in their buildings. And they're going to have the chance to come over to the LRC and work with these professionals.
Yes.
And really learn the trade so that when they're out of high school, they could step right into a job or right into a university and do even more training.
And find a skill, and some of them won't move on. I remember, look at Representative Daniel Pay. I have to say, he came through the broadcasting program at Lawton High. He's not on TV in that capacity, but he's used all his skills and
he's all over social media.
Good job,
you taught him something. He does a good job with that. So
yes. Well, it's been really good to have Miss Oates here to explain what's going on at the LRC. Is there anything left that you want to just give us hints on?
Again, we want the people who watch this to understand this has become a great communication device for us. If you got questions, or we brought up questions or thoughts, send your to info@lawtonps.org so we can answer those questions, because we want to make sure everyone understands what we're trying to do. And the first thought we got is we're trying to build another high school, or we're trying to just capture the top 5%. And I appreciate you coming on and kind of spelling some of those rumors and your passion for all students and some of the things you want to do. Hopefully that makes everyone know. And great job. This thing is, it was little, and I always say, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Well, Charlotte's on about bite 6 already.
Maybe.
She's getting there. So great job, and we appreciate you.
And Ms. Oates, is there anything you want to say before you leave us on our...
Well, thank you for the opportunity to let me talk to our community. The one thing I did leave out that we haven't talked about yet was that we're trying to reinstate the children's choir that has been a big part of the Lawton, Fort Sill, the Lawton community. And these children, and they're elementary, and so in the choir room there, we're going to reinstate the children's choir. And one of my great former students, Misty Hively, is going to be the director of that. And so that means that we're actually serving kids that start in about the 3rd grade all the way through the 12th grade.
Awesome.
So I need for them to know that too. This is not just for
secondary kids.
Yes,
9
this
through
is
12.
for all of us.
So awesome. Very good.
All right, Mr. Hime. Well, before we get into our celebrations, we do have a few things that we want to let our parents know by starting one with the Comanche County Health Department's partnership and what's going to happen next week.
Well, they're going to start working on, because if you watch the news, and sometimes you can watch it, sometimes you can't, the CDC has now approved, I believe it's the Pfizer for 12 and up. And so the Comanche County is going to come on campus, different campuses, look for our schedule, and I'm sure Lynn can flash it up during this podcast, video cast.
There you go.
But the ideal is they're going to start after school from 3 to 5, vaccinating our students. Now, the thing is, people talk about, why would you get your student vaccinated? It's not big of a threat. One thing they have come out that parents need to understand, a fully vaccinated student does not have to quarantine. So that eliminates that from their schedule. So if that's a problem for you, it's been a problem, again, that's a personal decision that parents make right now. Lawton Public Schools has no intention of requiring the vaccine. I haven't heard of anyone in the state
Correct.
doing that. I haven't heard of any kind of movement for this to become like the measles or some of the other vaccines that are required
And
to
the
go to school.
immunizations.
Immunizations, yes. So we're
Providing an opportunity for our families to get
And I
it.
just want to make sure people are fully informed that, the Pfizer, most people say it's safe, but again, that's your choice. But if you are vaccinated and fully vaccinated, you will not have to quarantine. So that's, because the best guess is next year we will not be wearing masks. The mask policy will go away. We'll be back to normal there. Therefore, if you haven't been vaccinated and somebody does get positive, the loop will be bigger, the number of people that would be quarantined that has not been vaccinated.
All right. Now we have something else going on with our middle schools next next week. And it only applies to the middle school, which is that Thursday. And that's that test make exemption.
Yeah,
Can you
we had
share
a
that?
lot with the LRC coming and Tomlinson. We're going to redistribute those kids for other reasons. Also, it gets them closer to a high school and it gets them all at home campuses for some of the things we'll talk about next week, hopefully. But so the middle schools on Thursday, they're having a makeup test day to make sure they get all that done, and it also give the teachers, because there won't be as many students in the building, that'll give the teachers time to get packed and get their things ready to go, because a lot of our middle school teachers are going to be moving. They got to
Just shifting different areas and buildings.
Charlotte and her team's done a great job not wanting to get into the middle, because they need to get into Tomlinson to get prepared. But hey, we have that education's going on, and a big shout out to her team, because they're not interrupting the education. Those students got to get their education completed. So next week, starting the 24th, we'll have students. We'll start moving in, but we have to give our teachers time to pack.
So for the 20th, if you have more questions, please reach out to your student's middle school administrator and they can share more information with you. Now let's get to our celebrations. We had something really great happen this week on Wednesday, and then we're preparing for something Saturday. Wednesday was
At the mall, we had our first robotics competition. I believe we had 5 elementary schools
with
there.
six. We had six,
awesome.
yes.
We had 6 elementary schools there. A good crowd. I give Vanessa a hard time because I can do that. I had an out-of-town meeting, but I rushed back because she thought it would last till 1, and it was over when I got back. So I'm really disappointed because I really like to see those things. But the word is the parents were there. We had kids there. They were cheering. Next year, we plan on having 18 schools involved.
And it was wonderful just to see the turnout. If you missed it, we have it live stream. We recorded it, and it's on our YouTube channel. We have photos. Thank you to everybody that came out and supported. Just watching them, the high fives and the cheers and the families really getting into it was truly exciting and just electrifying to be a part of. I enjoyed it. And the mall was so great. We had people that were walking by and just trying to figure out what's going on. So they got a little glimpse into what was taking place in our school. So I love that.
And then Saturday,
yes,
we're having our first esports citywide championship, which is exciting. Esports is huge. Some people don't even realize. They think, well, that's video games. What are we doing? Colleges actually give students scholarships in esports. And it's also a training for gamers are big for drone pilots. And of course, obviously, the gaming industry is always looking for gamers. So if you look at 20,000, if you look at the projections of 2030, there's going to be a lot of jobs in the gaming industry and a lot of jobs that spin off for people who are experts at the esports type things with that hand-eye coordination they use. So that competition is Saturday morning at MacArthur
High School. Yes.
And we're excited about that. And that's one thing, even with we've talked about, is maybe putting a really state-of-the-art esports arena in the Life Ready Center. And we keep talking about all the things we're going to put in there, and we're going to run out of room, obviously, but that's one of the things where all 3 schools could have a state-of-the-art room where they could compete and practice, and we could host statewide competitions.
And it will be streamed by our MacArthur broadcasting team
awesome.
And esports broadcasting. So we're thankful for them for, spending their Saturday and showcasing what our kids are doing. And then we have another celebration that we just found out, and that was Freedom Elementary's Ms. Caitlin Hull. She is 20 under 2, which is she's a brand new teacher, and she just got recognized for an excellent job that she's doing in the classroom. So we want to make sure to give her a big shout out
today.
Always
great to celebrate our teachers. We got so many great teachers and so many great administrators. I was at a meeting Wednesday, the one before, and they were bragging, and everybody said, I just can't believe everybody hasn't been to Lawton, because we've seen what you guys have done with your virtual and all the options you've given. And everybody just talks about it statewide. They know what our teachers and administrators did to make this work. And, obviously we talk about it. There's some struggles along the way, but for the most part, we got through the year with as many face-to-face days as our students that wanted. If it wasn't for the ice storm, we would have had very little disruptions. And so very excited about what our teachers and staff did, and that is being recognized across the state. So shout out once again to everybody who worked hard and went and sometimes at their own risk, went to work to make sure our students had a teacher and a meal and a bus ride and a secretary to answer the phone and a principal.
Nurses to help us with quarantines and isolations. They were a big part of it. So
been a great year.
Yes, and thank you for the parents and family members that are using our Ask Info emails and INFO to just share celebrations, because we got a lot of them in the last few weeks about just the great things that are going on with teachers and students, and we love reading that. So
Yes.
it doesn't always have to be a complaint or just a celebration, and our teachers love it, and so do our staff members.
And always watch us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Your team's doing a great job of sharing and celebrating our students and some of the great things going on at Lawton Public Schools.
Mr. Hime, is there anything else as we head into our
Nope,
weekend?
Very excited. Graduation's coming up. We'll see you next week. And
Cross your fingers, no rain, please, and pray. No rain.
We're very excited and excited for the students, and congratulations to all of our graduates. And we're looking forward to moving forward. And like we said today in a meeting, if it seems like it's May now, and we'll blink our eyes and we'll be preparing for next year.
That's right. Well, thank you, Mr. Hime. Thanks, Ms. Oates, for coming and being a part of our podcast. And
Video
cast. Look, here's the terminology, video cast. I know. We'll get there. All right, Mr. Hime. Thank you guys so much for coming and being a part of our show today. Until next week, you guys be well, stay safe, and make positive impacts. Have a wonderful weekend.